Welcome back, and we're going to continue the series with down imaging. We're going to talk about some DI in this video, okay? So hang in there and let's get this going. Okay, folks, let's say you want to change the frequency. The check button, little check button here with the check mark, just press it. And that's the shortcut for changing frequency. Right there, 798.50, 1150, 1275, 425, 20. Okay, that way you don't have to go into the menu and go searching for the frequencies to change them. You can do it simply by pressing that right there. Okay, and to do a recording, see, I've got some recordings on there. Go to this right here. Go to this view, hit menu, and you can start recording. Okay, and once you hit start recording, then you can go to any screen you want and it will just continuously record until you stop it. Now the next thing I'd like to do is clarify something in a previous video, which was the mega settings video. In there I went over here, and when I got down to zoom width, it's set on wide. Well, the reason it was on wide is because the last time I was out on the water, I was looking at a laydown in about 10 foot, 11 foot of water. When I'm that shallow, I will run it in wide, but usually I'm running, like I told you in one of the previous videos, I like to look for brush that are in between 10 and like 22 foot of water. So when I do find brush in about 15 foot of water, I will have this in medium. Okay, anything deeper than, let's say, over 22 feet, I'll go between medium and narrow. Now in narrow, the depth to width ratio is 3 to 1. So for every 3 foot of depth, your beam going across the bottom of the lake is only going to be 1 foot wide. So if you're say 15 foot of water, your width of that beam going across the bottom is going to be 5 foot wide. It's a ratio of 3 to 1. Now the beam, remember on down imaging, the beam is not cone shaped like the 2D. It is a thin beam that goes across the bottom of the lake. Now in medium width, your depth to width ratio is 1 to 1. So for every foot of depth, you will have a 1 foot wide width. So if you're at 5 foot depth, your beam will be 5 foot wide going across the bottom of the lake. Now in wide, if you have it set at wide, then your beam is going to come out a 90-degree angle. That makes it a very wide beam going across the bottom. Okay, now for anyone who's new to DI, don't get discouraged. Please don't get discouraged if your pictures, if you have a little trouble getting these real pretty pictures. Everyone likes to put these real pretty pictures of these brush piles or laydowns or rocks or boats that they see, sunken boats or pallets, wooden pallets that are down there. Or you know, like these beautiful laydowns like this. Don't get discouraged if you have trouble doing that. It's very tricky. I'm guilty of putting, you know, trying to get the best picture up there. I'm guilty of that too. To get pictures like this, your settings, you have to play with your settings a lot. Your boat speed and your chart speed, it's crucial to have them matched up, and you have to be going pretty slow. And you can't have a lot of waves out there. Your boat can't be rocking, and you've got to hit the laydown or the brush pile, especially a laydown like this. You've got to hit it at the exact angle. If not, then you're not going to get that beautiful picture like this, like you see on here and the ones people put up. Okay, let me show you an example here. Alright, in this example I want to show you what it's like if you do not hit the angle correctly as you're going over a laydown or a brush pile. Here, let me blow this up a little. Here you can see the laydown, nice pretty. You can see another laydown back here behind it. In this area, this is probably, you see us fish these laydowns all the time. Normally you can see the bridge right behind us or in front of us when we're fishing this out there on Lake Waco. 3 years ago there were 4 laydowns in that area. Last year there were only 3 laydowns in that area. This year we managed to go out once for about an hour and a half, and this is the laydowns we were looking at when we were out there trying to learn how to use the new Ulterra on the boat, trolling motor, and we could only find really like 1.5. So people are moving them. People are moving these laydowns, hooking up to them and moving them or something, because I can't see just a storm moving them, because these things are huge, these laydowns. But you can see fish, you can see crappie all in here. You know, all these are crappie, but you can see them in there between the limbs. But in this one, I hit the angle just perfect at the correct speed. The boat speed and the chart speed were right where they were supposed to be, and like I said, I hit it at the correct angle. Now here's a picture of the same brush piles, but I didn't get the angle right. And this is the same area. These are the same brush piles. These pictures, of course, were taken on a different day. There you can see that it was the wrong angle, and it looks nothing like the other one. This is what I've been saying is, don't get discouraged if you don't get them real pretty pictures. You got to learn how that brush is laying there in the weather conditions, as far as the waves and the wind, and they've got to be just right. Your boat speed and your chart speed, it's crucial in this situation. On DI, it is crucial to have your boat speed and your chart speed synchronized. Okay, these next two pictures, everybody worries about getting that beautiful, beautiful, perfect picture. Well, I didn't here. This was out on Lake Granger last year, and this was a crappie tournament, and me and my wife were fishing a tree. We were over on the, what would that be, the south end of the lake, and we were fishing this tall tree. It was out of the water, and we were jigging around the tree, and we were catching a bunch of little ones. But there were some stumps all around us, so I told her, let's float back, you know, to one of these stumps and start fishing these stumps, see if we can get some bigger crappie. Well, we started floating back, and I mean just letting the wind push us back, and we come across this one, this laydown, and you better know we fished it, because you can see the crappie. You can see the crappie in this laydown here. And you can also see the silt. Now I could have, with the contrast, you see the silt line here, you see this clear water, and then you see this silt or algae or whatever, you can see the line going across here. Now I could have cleared that up. You can clear that up by raising your contrast. Your contrast will get that out of there for you, or lower your sensitivity. But this, like I said, this was a tournament. I wasn't worried about getting that beautiful, perfect picture, so I just wanted to be able to find a crappie. And when you start raising that contrast and start darkening up that picture, well, you're going to darken up the crappie too. You just got to remember, the important thing is to be able to see the fish in there. That's the important thing. The picture, getting a beautiful picture, is not important unless that's what you're after. But if you're after the fish, the most important thing is being able to see the fish in there. And so that's why I didn't bother clearing it up. I just took a quick snapshot of it there on the screen. But about 20 yards away, you can see the silt here. And this is a prime example of why you're going to constantly, why one setting does not fit all. Here's a perfect example. You can see the silt. You can see how thick it is here. Okay, the silt line goes across there. Everything below it, you can see the silt, algae, or whatever that is. But in this next picture, this laydown was only about 20 to 30 yards away when we found it. Oh, wrong one. And you can see how much more silt there is. It's just a lot worse. And this is only 20 or 30 yards away. But yet you can see there are crappie around here. You can see the crappie there. All these are crappie. Now this should have been cleared up some, but like I said, I could still see there were fish there. My main objective was to find fish and catch fish, not take pretty pictures. But like I said, you know, this is a prime example why you've got to constantly mess with the sensitivity and the contrast. It's right there. This perfect example. Now I'm pretty sure this was at 10. The sensitivity and the contrast were at factory settings 10, and this is the pictures they'll give you. Okay, so just remember that. Don't get discouraged if you have a little trouble. Just, you know, play with it. Play around with your boat. You're trying to get the right angle and see what you can come up with on the brush pile that you're looking at. To get pictures like this is not very difficult because you don't have to worry about all the little limbs that are hanging out. So these will be pretty easy to pick up. But it's the ones that have all the limbs and everything that are sticking out. Those are the ones that can be kind of difficult to get a good picture on, okay? You know, and there's one thing that I see asked all the time. People would like to know what settings to put it on, the sensitivity and contrast and sharpness. And these megas, when I'm running chirp or mega, the sharpness is always off. You know, there's just too much there, so the sharpness I always have off. Now the sensitivity and contrast, there is no one setting fits all. Everything you look at, you will have to play with the sensitivity and contrast. There's been, like in the previous pictures that I showed, I could have messed with the contrast and cleared it up a little bit, and them two pictures were about 20 to 30 yards apart, and you could see just the difference in them. So you will always have to play with the sensitivity and contrast. And the sensitivity, this is usually what I'll leave it on, 10 and 10, the factory settings. Okay, and I'll play with it from there. I have gone as low as 2 on the sensitivity and left the contrast was around 8 or 9. And I had a perfect picture. And there's been times I've had to turn the sensitivity up to 12 and 13. And usually the contrast is 1 or 2 clicks higher than the sensitivity, or even. Contrast is usually not lower than the sensitivity. That's one thing to remember. So, but who knows? I may run across a situation where the contrast does need to be lower. I can't tell you. Every unit is different. The speed on the units are different. I have found that out. So it's just, you know, just all I'm trying to say is there's no one setting fits all. Everybody would like to have, you know, hey, what do you have your sensitivity and contrast set at? I can't say. You know, every picture you take, every picture you look at, every view you look at, you're going to have to play with them to get that perfect picture. So now let's, before I close this video out, I'd like to show you some shots I have taken on DI. I won't show very many. I'll just show a few to close this video out. Hopefully y'all have gotten something out of this. Hopefully I haven't confused you. I'm hoping I didn't confuse anybody. I'm sure I did. And if I did, hey, you know, ask me some questions. Just in the comments, or get a hold to me on my email or in Facebook, and ask some questions. I don't mind answering at all. Okay. Hey, God bless. Y'all have a great one, and thank y'all for watching. And stay tuned, because I will do one for SI. Okay. Y'all have a good one. Okay, this one here is also another one of our 3 top spots to fish, and this is a slab, a concrete slab. You can see it here. You can see going right around here. That's all concrete there, and all these little dots that you see are crappie all up here. right here, all these. I mean, just tons of them. And you can see there's someone has stuck some type of brush pile or a little brush here, and I'm sure there's some here, but you can't see it because of everything covered it, but there it is, dug out some right here. And them crappie love the edge of this right here. We find them here all the time. And here's one where I zoomed in on it so you could see all the fish. Same slab, same picture, I just zoomed in. But you can just see all the fish, all the crappie. Man, that gives me goosebumps looking at this. Now here's another spot I had found. And you can see all the fish around this brush. You see the brush here, but then you can see all the fish around it. And even out here, outside of the zoom box, you can see that the the crappie are all out here. Excuse me. But you can see them here. Here's another nice picture with crappie all around it. Goodness. Now this picture here was taken out at Cedar Creek. I remember this one. This picture was out on Cedar Creek Lake at a crappie tournament. And here's another really nice brush pile, and you can see all the crappie around it. So if there's that many around it, just think how many are inside of it. There's probably so many, that's why it looks just so thick and you can't see the branches. This is just loaded with crappie here. And this is only in 10 foot of water. But in the summertime, this is where they go. They go to these brush piles. Look at the water temp, 89.2. And only in 10 foot of water. So you can't catch them in 10 foot of water. I mean, this had to be in July or August. And because it was hot. That water temp's it's up there, 89.2.